Hello and welcome to Learning Excel 2013. My name is Mike Henry and this is the sixth video from Tutorial 4. In this video we're going to create a clustered column chart, and then after we create that chart we're going to move it on to a different page so we have a summary of everything called our overview page. So now what we're going to do is provide to our overview page here another chart, and this chart is going to get us the opportunity to look at a clustered column. Basically, when we're dealing with column charts, we're comparing one thing versus another thing, unlike the pie chart here where we're comparing everything to the whole. So we have some really good data that would be comparison type data, and that is right here on our projected cash flow. And when you look at your projected cash flow, we have two that just jump out. You want to compare your revenue, money you're bringing in, to your expenses, money going out. And this is one that you'll find in the business world is a very, very important one to be comparing at all times. So we're going to build a clustered column chart. And we're going to build a couple here. I'm going to probably build some and delete them, and I want you to see some things that we're going to do. So one of the first things that you can do is if you try to highlight from here to here, and you go, oh, I'm going to do a column chart, you're going to end up with a lot of extra numbers in here. And that's not going to work well because now we've got all of our expenses being graphed. And we just want the bigger numbers. So like we learned earlier, if I highlight this and I use my control key, I can highlight non-adjacent data. Now I'm highlighting just these two. I come up to Insert and I go to my clustered column chart. And you can see I get a clustered column chart that shows me some numbers here. I don't know what these mean. I just have 1 through 10, and then I have my series here. So I'm missing a lot of labels there that could help me. So what I'm going to do is delete that, and what people will see right away is that we have a total revenue there, and we have a total expenses there, which will allow me to graph these two. And again, if I were to come into Insert real quick and drop in a 2D column chart, that works great. And it just so happens that 1 through 10 is there. That really isn't saying the years. It's just saying there was 10 columns, I put up 10 pieces of information. So we want to learn how to put up true column headings. So people are going, oh, I get that. Now that we've learned how to do this piece, I just highlight year 1 through 10, and I hold down my control key, I highlight here, and with my control key back down I highlight here. And you go, that's going to work great, and you go to Insert and you go to the 2D column and you go, wait a minute, got an issue and I do not understand what just happened to me. And this is an error that's very common that people will see out there, and I like to call this error the Sesame Street error. Basically, I'm going to delete this. One of these things is not like the other. You've got 10 columns being graphed against 11 columns being graphed against 11 columns. One of these things is not like the other, so it just takes everything and it sticks them into one chart and says, I hope you like that chart. So what we're going to do now is avoid the Sesame Street error by highlighting here that empty spot through year 10, and then highlighting all of our revenues through year 10 and all of our expenses through year 10. So by doing that, we've got 11 graphed against 11 graphed against 11, and you'll see, and this time I'm going to do recommended charts because I want to show you that the clustered column is one of the recommendeds. I can pick that, hit OK, and now I have my revenue versus expenses for the legend. I have my numbers down the side from the graphing, and I have year 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. All those years are in there because I graphed that column. Now the last thing I need to do is move this one to my overview page. And so you can see up here on my chart tools in the design tab, I have a move chart, and I click right there, and it says instead of having it in the tab called projected cash flow, I'd rather have it in the tab called overview. And when I hit OK, you can see that's moved into the right one. It's not really in a good place, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to grab it. I'll move this corner right down here to F16, and I'll drop that. I'll grab this corner right here, and I'll move that corner right here to M29, which is basically where I want that one. And now you can see I've got my chart here. Obviously I need to do some formatting to that chart, but that's the next video. So in this video we created that clustered column chart. We saw that there's a couple of different ways we can create it. We also learned during the creation process what things we needed to highlight before we started to create this chart and what things might cause us problems later on down. So we basically learned the Sesame Street era. After we created the chart, we learned how to take that chart and move it to a different page.